and welcome to our Death Row Mukbang. I'm Erica.
And I'm Wyatt.
You might recognize our voices. We are the Tales Untold Podcast.
Yes.
And we're very excited about this project.
Feels weird being on camera for Tales Untold. I've been on camera for my personal channel, but this feels strange.
I have not been on camera for anything. So this is weird.
Yeah.
For me, especially. So who do we have today? Who is our death row inmate?
John Wayne Gacy, also known as Pogo the Clown. Basically his final meal was KFC chicken, a pound of strawberries, Diet Coke, a dozen of shrimp, fried shrimp, and French fries.
Yeah, we are not eating all of this.
Yeah, no.
There's no way. I'm not on death row. I'm not going to eat all this. But we are definitely going to put a dent in it.
We are.
And we are going to talk about
what he did, his life, his crimes, what led to death row.
Who he was. And of course, just like Tales Untold, our opinion.
The death row mukbang, is that how I say it?
Yeah, mukbang.
Mukbang is exactly what it sounds like. We are eating, typically probably serial killers, honestly. Their last meals before they
the people that were on death
died.
row.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really exciting project. I'm very excited about this. What should we start with? I know that you're not going to eat the shrimp.
I'm not.
And if anybody noticed, my beverage is clear.
It's water.
I do not like soap. Soap. Yes, I don't like soap. I don't like soda. So I will not be drinking that, but I have my water. Why don't you start with where he was born?
Doesn't say. You said where?
Oh, I meant when. When he was born.
He was born March 17th, 1942, which feels so long ago.
That does feel like a long 42. It was almost 100 years ago.
Almost.
That was 80 years ago.
That's crazy.
Oof.
And he was put to death on May 10th, 1994, which isn't that long ago.
He's a pretty old guy.
He was.
So I was really thrown off when I was reading about him because I didn't know anything about him. And I kind of had a feeling that he could have been stopped. Like he could have been caught before he had 33 victims.
How?
He was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy in 1968. And then he was on parole. And while on parole, he was accused of sexually assaulting somebody else.
Really?
But because he, I think he tried to, no, that person didn't show up to court. So the charges were dismissed. Yes, the person that he sexually assaulted. What?
Why wouldn't they show up?
I don't know. Maybe he killed them. Maybe he was one of their victims.
Maybe.
Although I think they might have actually caught him sooner if that was the case.
Yeah. He would have been the prime suspect in that.
Yeah, it also showed that he didn't show up. I can't remember if it was this one or somebody, or if there was somebody else that he sexually assaulted. They tried to blackmail him. Like the person that he sexually assaulted tried to blackmail him.
How?
And then charges were also dismissed for that. Because of sexually assaulting him.
But like...
It was insane.
But like blackmail him with what? Like...
The fact that he sexually assaulted a child.
I know, but like what was he gonna get out of it?
Money?
Oh.
What does anybody get from sexually assaulting somebody? Or blackmailing, I'm sorry.
He also had a wife and 2 kids.
Mm-hmm. That was crazy. He was married twice.
I did not know that he had kids.
That's probably because after he was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy, she divorced him, and he never saw them again.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Which is probably for the best. Why don't we have plates?
I'm pretty sure this guy was like the first killer clown. Like there was.
I have no idea. Maybe.
If he's not the first, he's the most famous. Or infamous.
And I find it interesting that he wasn't even known as the killer clown.
Killer clown.
Yeah. I said it backwards earlier. I was trying to get it right. He wasn't known as the killer clown until after he was caught and they figured out who he was. This guy had a business.
Yeah, he would do birthday parties dressed as Pogo, right?
Well, he had that, but he also had a contracting business.
Really?
Where he hired people and they would be his contractors. He would send them to go painting and whatever. However, he would sexually assault people. That's how he chose victims.
By sexually assaulting them?
Yeah, no, that's not how he chose.
Oh.
He chose them by people. They were people in his company a lot of the times. And then if they fought him, he would either leave them alone or they would end up dead.
Interesting.
It's insane.
So he was just killing people because they made him upset?
Kind of. But, actually, I think one of his first victims was... What did they name him? He was, he found him at a bus stop. And he promised he would bring him to his dad, bring him back to the bus stop so he'd get to his dad's at a later time or whatever. But he brought him to his house and he let him spend the night. And I guess this kid had made breakfast and somehow absentmindedly came up to his room to wake him up with a knife in his hand. I don't know. It was a very odd story. So John Wayne Gacy thought that he was attacking him. So he ended up accidentally killing this kid in his house. And then that's when he realized how aroused he got by killing people.
That's crazy.
It's wild. I'm reading this and I'm just like...
I actually did not know that. I thought he just killed because...
No!
So that's what started all of his...
He got actual pleasure from it. Insanity.
That's crazy.
I had no words. It was wild to me. I think you're serious?
My question is, why was the kid bringing the knife up there?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't. Maybe that's just what John Wayne Gacy told. Because obviously, we don't know this because the kid said it. We know this only because this is his account. Years later, after
he could just be making it up.
So he could have made that part up. He could have just said that he brought him home, killed him, decided he liked it, and carried on. But I guess at that point, what does he gain from saying something like that? So, maybe the kid just absentmindedly brought it up there. That's what the website claimed he did, is that it was just there. Like, he had it in his hand, and then he went, I should wake him up.
For him to lie about that.
Right. At that point, he was already in the hole.
Yeah.
There was no going back. And I guess at that point...
And maybe he did actually wake up scared and think that he was about to be attacked, but that doesn't mean that he should...
he's a crazy person. He's had a really terrible life.
Yeah.
His father was a drunk. He was abusive. John Wayne Gacy was sexually assaulted by a family friend over the years.
Really?
Yeah, and in 1949, John Wayne Gacy was 7 years old. And he and another boy were caught sexually assaulting a little girl. At 7.
That's insane.
I was blown away.
That's sickening.
Blown away.
7?
Yeah. At 7 years old.
And I guess the phrase hurt people is true. But that doesn't make it right.
But why did he do that? Why wasn't he beating her up? Why did he go there? Because I don't know if that was before or after the sexually assault part.
That's true.
But when his father was the one that caught them. And he beat the crap out of him for that.
Good.
Right. But...
That's wild.
7? And he had 2 sisters.
Really? He had 2 sisters? He had siblings?
Mm-hmm. I believe he was the middle child. He had an older sister and a younger sister. And his father would always claim that he would end up gay. Like, he would grow up and he would be gay and all this stuff. And he wouldn't amount to anything. And
That's horrible to just say to your own child.
absolutely. Like, he treated him like crap. So, after he married his first wife... Do you recall her name? I do not.
No.
I didn't write them down. And they moved out to Iowa, where her father had bought some KFC establishments, and he allowed John Wayne Gacy for some reason, because I don't think he finished high school, and I don't think he finished college, so why is he letting this random guy just manage 3 KFCs for $15,000 a year, which doesn't sound like a lot. But
it doesn't.
Translated to nowadays...
Yeah, back then that was probably a lot.
It was $154,000.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That is.
That's like 3 times my pay. That's a lot. I guess then his father showed up after he had 2 kids. His father showed up in 1966 to his home in Iowa and saw his success, saw his wonderful life, and he apologized to John Wayne Gacy for how he had treated him and for all the horrible things that he said to him.
I don't think that's something you can just easily say I'm sorry for.
Right. So his father had to have gone through some sort of
like the jester
growth.
Yeah. The jester seems nice, but I don't know if something like that happened to me, I don't think I could forgive.
No, probably not. There's certain you'd have to forgive it to an extent for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'd have to be like, all right, I have to not hold on to this. Like, this person realized their mistakes. They admitted them. Okay, but you can forgive but not forget. Like, just because you're saying, all right, thank you for the apology, I appreciate that.
Doesn't mean you forgive them.
Right. It doesn't mean you need to forget that it ever happened.
Yeah.
I think a part of remembering that it happened can help keep it from happening again. I don't know. That's a tough subject.
I want you to know, when I went to pour that, I actually almost spilled that all over the floor. That would have been funny to catch on camera.
That would have been great. There's not a lot of meat on this.
Is that the same one that you've just been picking at?
Yeah. I've been talking a lot.
Hold on. Apparently, John Wayne Gacy's house also smelled really bad, but he told, like, family, guests, and I'm assuming friends. I think that would fall under the guest category. Anyways, he would just tell them that it was moisture buildup, which I guess would make sense without knowing who he is. Like, it'd just be like, oh, okay. But little did the family and guests know that there was quite a few dead boys buried under... It was under his kitchen, right?
I don't know specifically. It said under his house, but this was actually with the second wife.
Second wife?
This was with the second wife. So after he was released from jail in 1970, and he was on probation, he was sent back home to his mother.
Yeah.
Right? So with her help, he was able to buy another house where they lived in. And eventually, he found someone else. He was working for... I forget the company that he was working for. And he found a woman there that he liked, and they were dating, whatever. And then when they got married, the mother moved out, and they were living there. Well, apparently, after living together for a while and being married, he told her, he's like, yeah, this relationship is just for show.
Really?
And he started staying out late. His new wife started finding wallets of other people. She started hearing weird noises. He was out really late. He was up really early. Really, really strange things were happening. And again, she didn't investigate. She didn't say, like, I realized it was someone that she probably loved and thought that she knew.
Yeah.
And, I mean, enough to marry and live with this person.
And she might have also been potentially scared of the outcome if she confronted, but even then, if I found, like, a bunch of wallets, like, that is, like, whatever. If he's out late, maybe he's just out with his friends.
Well, she knew. He told her that he was out with men, that he was not into women. So, I mean, I guess his father pegged that. But I guess she didn't realize how young these people were.
Yeah.
Like, they were young adult men as well as boys, eventually. And it's just insane.
It is.
I couldn't believe it.
The wallet thing, I don't know why she wouldn't...
Right, and, I mean, at that point, he's at least stealing.
Yeah.
He's at least pickpocketing. Like, what?
Why wouldn't she say anything like, what are these wallets from?
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't?
No.
What would you do?
No, because at that point he would be... I would see that he's dangerous. Because he's stealing. So he's going to be lying. And when you confront somebody, say somebody stole something of yours. You walk up to them like, hey, did you steal my hat? Do you think they're going to be honest with you? Do you think they're going to pull out of their pocket and be like, yeah, man, sorry, here you go. You really think that's going to happen?
Maybe. Not in this case, though.
And I wonder if she knew that he was convicted of sexual assault. And that he was on probation. Me, personally, I would not marry or date somebody like that.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure I don't know when the law was created or if it's even a law, but I'm pretty sure if you're a registered sex offender, you have to state that to, like, anybody.
I know in Massachusetts is pretty strict. I'm not so sure about anywhere else, though.
Where was
I really
this?
don't know.
I...
The act was Iowa. When you got arrested and stuff, that was Iowa. I think he lived in Ohio. I think.
Ohio is such a strange place to me. Like, I don't know. Never been.
No idea. So, I don't know. These french fries are delicious, however.
You say as you eat a shrimp.
Yes. But I just had a fry. Greasy.
Very. I keep wiping the grease on my pant leg.
No, don't do that. Excuse me. So, do you know what the actual thing was that got him caught?
No, do you?
I don't, but I just read something that reminded me of another fun fact that had me blown away again.
Is it fun fact or is it just fact?
Good point. So he didn't finish high school because he got sick of his father's abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his father had helped him buy a car so that he could get to work and what have you. And so anytime his father deemed him not doing the things that he was supposed to be doing, he would take the keys of the car.
Really?
So what John Wayne Gacy did was he had a second key made. So that when his father did that, he still had a key and he could still use it. Well, when his father found that out, he was livid.
I bet.
So, to escape his father's tight grasp, he went to Vegas. And guess what his job was while he was there?
KFC manager?
Even better.
Contractor?
A mortuary attendant.
Oh.
He learned how to embalm people. He learned how to take care of dead bodies.
I wonder if he had killed before then. When was this? Does it have a year?
It doesn't, but considering he'd be 17, 18, I'd say 1960 or so. So...
Late 50s, early 60s, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. So it just...
When was his first victim?
Murder or victim? Because I guess that depends.
Murder.
It was the bus stop boy.
Do you know what year that was?
I don't. Not off the top of my head. My phone's over there.
Quick Google search.
I have it up on my computer.
He first murdered someone in 1972.
So he was 30?
I'm not good at math.
Well, 1942 to 1972 would be 30. So was that the busboy? It should have given him a name, but before they knew who he was, they called him
Busboy?
No, it was the actual bus station's name. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. Timothy Jack McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
That was the guy with the knife that went up.
Mm-hmm.
That was his first.
Timothy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll never know if Timothy also had ill intent.
Right. But the story states that John Wayne Gacy then goes downstairs and discovers that there's a full breakfast made for him.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, how bad do you gotta feel? To be like...
Well, if I was in his position and I genuinely thought I was attacked and I ended up killing someone over it and went down, I would feel super bad, but he probably didn't feel that bad. Maybe he felt a little remorse, but...
I don't know. I wonder if maybe there was a part of him that was like, oh man, I didn't have to kill him. But there was also that moment where he went, I like killing.
And then killed 32 other people.
Right.
Or boys. And men, I guess.
Yeah. While you look that up. I actually looked on the FBI website.
Really?
I did.
I don't like going on there.
I thought it was very interesting that it existed. Right? That it was on the actual FBI website. But almost all of it was redacted of the 19 pages. Like 97% of it was blacked out.
Why? Why even release it?
I don't know. And like some of it wouldn't even have been names. You know, like to protect people or anything. Like a lot of it was I don't even know if some of it was addresses or because like I could read a couple of words before. It was like on this date, blah blah, black. I'm like, why? Why did we do this? Like I didn't understand.
So I'm just kind of reading this on my phone as I go because I actually did not know how we got caught. Probably should have researched this beforehand and wrote it down.
I didn't write a lot of notes. There was a lot.
Well, I mean, you did write a lot of notes. There is just a lot about
There
him.
is a lot. I mean, he killed 33 people.
Yeah, you
and
have
buried
an
them
entire
in his
page.
house. That's not a lot to me.
In 1975, teens in the Uptown neighborhood tell Chicago police a man named John cruises the area in his car picking up young men.
He used his name.
Well, I mean, he was well known in his community because...
Oh, yeah, he was very popular.
Yeah,
like, he was very...
Like,
he was
his
very
logo,
involved.
Persona, and just him
But I guess
himself.
that made him trustable.
Yeah.
You know? So people would leave him with their kids. They would be okay with, like, oh, I'm going to the Gacy house. Like, all right, have fun. Like, they'd be okay with that.
Because
they thought they knew him. Because they thought they knew him.
Yeah.
That's scary.
That is.
Thank you.
In January of 1976, the officers staked out John Wayne Gacy's house. They suspected him for being responsible for the disappearance of a 9-year-old boy, and they ran surveillance on his house.
So there was that 9-year-old boy that somebody saw him with?
It's very vague.
I remember reading about that. I'm trying to remember.
And it was outside their jurisdiction, and they were not able to build a case against Gacy. In March 1977, there was a sexual assault claim. 27-year-old Northsider Jeff Ringnall says Gacy enticed him into his car before offering him marijuana before using chloroform to render him unconscious. Rignall says Gacy then drove him to his house, handcuffed him, and sexually attacked him before letting him go.
That reminds me of something that I was reading about. He would pretend to do a magic trick with the handcuffs. That's how he would get a lot of people handcuffed before attacking them.
Really?
He would be like, oh, hey, let me show you how to get out of these handcuffs. And, like, he would show them. He would do it. He'd show them, like, the hidden key or whatever. Then he would handcuff them and then assault them.
That's crazy.
I cannot tell you how blown away I was reading all of this. Like, I kept sitting back going, what? No! They didn't catch this guy? It was insanity. I couldn't.
Everybody, like we were just saying, everybody trusted him.
Right. And then, you know, being 18, 19-year-old, like, yeah, sure, show me how to get my handcuffs. That might be useful. Like, cool. You know?
Yeah. And, like, if they know him, like, if they know of him, they're gonna trust him.
Mm-hmm. Danger. I mean, and he dressed up as a clown, too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like clowns.
It's probably part of the reason that a lot of Americans don't like clowns.
I was just saying I don't like clowns.
Right. But, like, we think of clowns and we think of scary movies and horrific events. But a lot of people like clowns. Like, a lot of other cultures like clowns. They're okay with clowns. Probably because they don't have these kinds of histories with clowns. They don't have it.
Pennywise.
Right? Like, they didn't grow up with that in the back of their mind in the 70s.
Well, there was Bozo the Clown.
That name sounds familiar.
He was a children's entertainer.
That sounds familiar. And then there's, I think there is a movie called Killer Clowns or Clowns from Outer Space.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yep. There's that. And then there's this real-life killer clown.
And then don't forget the 2016 killer clown sightings and incidents.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. That was so...
That was horrible.
I don't know how hyped up that really was, though.
It was probably hyped up.
I mean, we never experienced it.
Thankfully.
Because I remember one of the guys I used to work with, he wanted to dress up as a clown that year, and he was like, I probably shouldn't do that.
No. It was a huge wide frenzy. Like, police were on alert, and, like, it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like the Momo thing in 2019 or something like that.
It's always something. I don't know. This guy's crazy. And he tried to plead innocent.
Yeah.
By reason of insanity.
And several psychologists diagnosed him with schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a scary thing alone.
Mm-hmm. And the jury rejected it and still found him guilty. I agree.
In this situation, yes. But, like, if it was someone other than John Wayne and they actually... Like, maybe John Wayne did have schizophrenia, but say, like... I don't know. Like, a random person, psychologist said they had schizophrenia, and they were on trial for something either they did it or didn't. And the jury was just like, oh no, you don't have schizophrenia. Like, that would suck.
I don't think that was exactly what happened.
That's what it sounds like.
I think that the word rejected is making you feel that way, but...
Yeah.
I feel like... I don't think they said, no, we don't think, even though we're not licensed doctors, we don't think you have schizophrenia, I'm sorry. I don't think that's what the case. I think they looked at each other and they went, he killed 33 people.
Yeah.
He embalmed them. He stuffed their own socks and underwear in their mouth so that their dead juices don't seep all over his carpets. And then he buried them. Yes, and then he buried them.
Under his house. That's not schizophrenia. That's just...
That is planned.
Murderous intent.
That is, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he was doing it simply to get a rise because he enjoyed it. I think that's what happened. So, like, if somebody presented me with a person that had this as their repertoire, I'd say, no, we're not putting this person back in the community.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's crazy. He's crazy enough to harm 33 people after already being arrested and put on probation. He was on probation for a lot of these. And he still did it.
Yeah.
He still achieved
That's not a
33 murders.
I mean, it is a mental illness.
Absolutely, but that doesn't mean he needs to be in the community.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he gets a slap on the wrist and he goes back to his normal life where he's going to kill another 33 some odd people before somebody else stops him again. No. Like, he was probably just trying to avoid the death sentence and live his life in luxury
for sure,
in a crazy home, but not having it. I'm angry, and it was... Oh, no, it was 1992 that he died, right? Nope, 1994.
Yeah.
I was 3 when he died, when he was put to death.
Wow.
And I'm still angry about it.
In December of 1977, Gacy was arrested by Chicago police after a 19-year-old teen from the north side says the man kidnapped him at gunpoint and forced him to engage in sexual acts. The police report shows that when he was taken into custody, Gacy admitted engaging in the acts with the youth and their brutality, but denied the teen was an unwilling participant.
He agreed that they were brutal, but it's okay. He agreed to it.
I mean, some people are into that.
I know, but he's going to the police about it, so he wasn't okay with it.
Yeah.
Like,
An assistant state's attorney decided not to prosecute Gacy.
Yeah. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of people were like, no, it's okay. We'll just make it go away. And I'm just like, what? You're gonna do what? I don't know, there's a lot that blew me away about that.
An honors student disappeared December 11th, 1978. And, Robert is his name, tells his mother to wait a few minutes because he has to see a man about a construction job that pays $5 an hour, nearly twice what he's making at the drugstore, and he was not seen alive again. So I'm assuming...
She went to pick him up somewhere?
Yeah.
To wait a few minutes? I guess that's what that means.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that the construction job was John Wayne.
That sounds... Yeah. Because he had one. He had a construction company. He had... something like that, so...
And then they obviously filed a missing persons report.
Mm-hmm.
December 12th, 1978, police want to question Gacy. Lieutenant... I don't even... Lieutenant...
Kuznetsek,
whose son attends the same high school as Robert, insists on an in-depth investigation. He learns Gacy, whose PDM contractors had recently remodeled Nissan Pharmacy. which must have been where Robert had previously worked. The drugstore. Was the man Robert want to speak to about a job? Gacy is asked to come to the police station for questioning. At 11 p.m., Gacy calls cousin Zach and asks, "You still want to talk to me?" "Yeah," cousin Zach responds. "How long do you think it will take you to get here?" "A half hour," Gacy says. Cousin Zach waits until 1 a.m., but Gacy doesn't show. Police later learn that after the phone call, Gacy goes to his attic, takes the body of the Robert boy, and moves it into his trunk of his car. He drives south of Joliet, and dumps the body into the Des Plaines River.
I think that's what gets him. Because they find the body on the river. In the river.
Probably. I mean, I think it's getting to the end. December 13th, 1978. Gacy denial leads to police search. Investigators later discovered Gacy's car was towed out of a snowbank at 2 a.m. on the Tri-State Tollway north of Ogden Avenue, about 38 miles north of where Gacy would later say he dumped Robert's body. Records from the tow truck company help authorities determine within an hour the time Gacy disposed of the youth's body. At 3:20 a.m., Gacy walks into the Des Plaines police station with mud on his pants and shoes. He asks to speak with Kozenczak, but is told to come back later. He does return and gives officers a brief statement. Kozenczak asks Gacy for the keys to his house, showing him a search warrant. Gacy protests but surrenders his keys. Oh yeah, I think this is where he's about to get caught. Inside the house, police and a Cook County Sheriff's Office evidence technician discover a receipt for a roll of film being developed. I've been avoiding saying his last name because I don't know how to say it. The Peist family says the receipt belongs to a female friend of their son. Peist offered to have the film developed for her. They seized other items from inside the house, as well as Gacy's car, van, and a pickup truck to be searched later. He had 3 vehicles. I mean, I guess the truck was probably for his...
He made a lot of money.
It's true.
He had a contracting company?
The pickup truck must have been for his contracting company.
The van probably also. Because I think he did like HVAC stuff too.
No other items relating to Peist are found, but police conclude Peist was in Gacy's house. Gacy, twice married, twice divorced, and currently living alone, is released from jail around 11 p.m.
So in 7 years, he killed 33 people.
That's insane.
Been sexually assaulted who knows how many.
Yeah.
And there was someone that escaped. There was somebody that lived.
There was?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember his name.
December 20th, 1978. The police learn of his prior sexual assault conviction. December 21st, 1978. Gacy was arrested, and the first bodies were found.
At that point, he'd already admitted to his lawyer that he had committed maybe 30 murders. He wasn't keeping count.
That's not something you can just say lightly. Oh yeah, I think about 30.
Yeah, maybe. And you sit there for a second like... like, hold on, let me count my toes. I don't know.
He was arrested because he was seen handling a package containing marijuana. So...
How did they know that?
Because he was under police surveillance? I don't know. What?
Package of marijuana. Like, how would they know that what was in it? Like, was this like a brick package? Like, was it... That's what I'm imagining. Something large.
I have no idea.
Package or things of... I think it was something bigger.
Police accused Gacy of holding Peist there against his will and threatened to tear up the floor to find the teen's body. Gacy denies Peist is there, but says he was forced to kill a man in self-defense and buried him under the concrete floor of his garage.
That was the boy from the bus stop.
Yeah.
He was planning on putting piping under there, so there was already a hole under the garage. I think that was while his wife was still with him, his second wife.
That's crazy.
You just reminded me of that when you said the concrete floor.
So, Gacy basically just sent himself to jail, it seems like. Because they would never...
Well, he said that he killed him by accident in self-defense, but...
And then buried him under his garage floor.
Right, but, like, what kills me is when people do things in self-defense, they panic, and then they make it look like it was intentional by getting rid of evidence.
I don't know why.
Why does that make... I mean, I guess you're panicking. Nothing makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to me.
He leads investigators to the garage and with a can of spray paint marks a place on the floor where the body is buried. Police also discover a trapdoor to the house's crawl space where they find parts of at least 3 bodies.
Parts? Where's the rest?
Wow.
This house has to stink. I hope they tore it down. I hope no one lives here.
There's no getting rid of that.
No, like that's not going away. No amount of bleach on this earth.
And even if you can't smell it, you'll know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I'm standing on what was...
Yes.
Bunch of remains.
Somebody's... Ugh. And he knew how to embalm people. Because he was a
mortician in Vegas.
Yeah! Which is...
Wild.
Wild. Absolutely wild. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's no way we were gonna eat all that.
They ripped up the floorboards in his kitchen, and that's where they found most of them.
It wasn't a kitchen.
That's crazy. Especially since he got away.
For so long.
For so long.
That's crazy. And so he must have been using the bus stop to collect his victims.
At least a good chunk of them.
And then he started using the contract company.
Yeah.
So maybe using the people... Again. You not learn. So maybe using his contract company is what got him caught.
Maybe.
Because they were local.
Yeah.
Or typically local people. So people around town noticed when they were missing. And people around town would notice that he was the last one near them before they were missing.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So...
I think it's crazy that he got away with it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he would have gone away for it probably longer. Maybe by a couple years. But he would have eventually been caught.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of just gave himself up by saying he killed someone in self-defense.
I wonder if he had it in his mind to say that he was going to be deemed insane. And then he would just go to a mental institution.
It's not what happened.
No, it's not. And thankfully that is not
Yeah.
what happened. Because that's not how that works. That's not fair. That's so crazy. 33 freaking kids. And then I can't even imagine, I don't even want to imagine all of the other crimes that he probably committed. And the torture.
Yeah, all of this that we're talking about, this is all we know and what he said.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's all kinds of other torture and things that he did.
Maybe he even has more victims than...
Yeah. I don't even know.
That would be insane.
Do you think this is worse than Jack the Ripper?
This is going to sound really sucky, but yeah, I do.
I do too.
Because I think sexual crimes are worse than murder, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you survive them. Mm-hmm.
I mean, murder's not okay, but...
Right. But Jack the Ripper, it was 5 victims? 6? 5.
But also, his victims were like brutally mutilated.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
They were. But who's to say that he didn't
torture them and toy with them and.
I mean, he definitely did.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff I was reading, I only remember bits and pieces, so I'm not gonna try to chop that up. But like, he did some really terrible things to some of these people before killing them, and he admitted to these things. He said these things.
Yeah. So. He was a sick guy.
Absolutely, and I know we've talked about schizophrenia a lot, but I feel like that's not where he was at.
It doesn't seem like he was schizophrenic at all. He knew exactly what he was doing. Because
I wonder if maybe there was like a John or a Jack persona that he had in his head to make him not feel so bad about what he did.
Yeah. That could be possible.
But I don't think it was an actual half of him, like another piece in his head. I think it was just like a switch where he would just kind of like acting.
Yeah, and like
acting where you pretend to be that person and it's okay. So whatever you're doing is okay.
And don't forget Pogra the Clown. That was also probably his other persona.
Oh yeah, that's
I don't know if
I'm sure he used that to lure some people.
Oh yeah,
especially the younger ones. So
and especially since he was so trusted.
Mm-hmm. It's a bad time.
It is.
His last meal was not bad.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was pretty heavy. He was a heavy guy, actually.
Yeah, he was.
He was a heavy guy.
I'm assuming he got the KFC because he worked at KFC.
Probably. I mean, it is good.
It is. It was.
Yeah, like, I don't think it would be different than it was now. We did get the original recipe, not the extra crispy.
Yeah. I got the tenders. Honestly, probably back then.
I don't think that was a thing. I think it was just the bone-in.
I don't like bone-in chicken. I tried to eat a piece, but I didn't.
Was not successful.
I don't know who we should do next for our death row mukbang.
I don't know. We're gonna try to shoot for 1 a month. 2 if we're lucky. But there's a lot going on, so who knows?
Yeah. I would say we could do Jeffrey Dahmer, but he was killed in prison. So I don't know if there's a record of the last thing he ate. Because he never actually...
Slop?
No, thank you.
I don't know what prison food is. I don't know. I don't want to know.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't know who our next meal will be.
I'm not sure. Thank you for watching our first Death Row Mukbang. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Wyatt.
I'm Erica.
This is Tales Untold.